You're the creator. You're in charge. Because if you chose these experiences, you can re-choose the experiences. You can rewrite the script. You can re-choose, recast everybody. You can do whatever you want. We live in a time-based realm, right? So we yesterday was the past, tomorrow is the future. And so it's such an interesting phenomenon when you heal something in its entirety across all time and space. It's like you don't even remember going through it. It's like this vague memory that just kind of is there, but it isn't there because it's done. There's no button in your being to push anymore because you've healed it 100%.
You know, death isn't scary.
No.
Giving your power away is scary.
It's a very, you have to let that one land, you know, because we've been so pre-programmed to be afraid of death. You can actually discern that. And when you really allow that knowledge and wisdom to land, you know, it's like the light bulb goes off.
Today's guest is a tech strategist turned spiritual healer and teacher. After a powerful awakening, she traded code for cosmic wisdom, becoming a certified Reiki master, Moto-Ki healer, and divine channel. Now, she bridges logic and mysticism, helping seekers release limitations and activate their inner magic. With infectious joy, she creates a spiritual Disneyland where healing meets wonder and adventure. Please welcome the founder of Saving Grace Healing Services, my friend and teacher, Madeline Harmath.
Thank you so much, Charles, for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I'm so excited to get into this today. And you know, I will start with this. I met you because I am also one of your students. And in learning all there is in my spiritual journey, just really leveling it up, I'm gonna start the podcast today with I will be enlightening the ego and allowing Source to guide this conversation. Just
very good. My job here is done.
Yeah, well, what I'm learning is it's never done.
It's never done.
I'm not done healing.
But that's why it has to be fun. That's why it has to be an adventure. That's why curiosity is important and fearlessness and, you know, and that's why I kind of call it the Disneyland, because it brings that, you know, childlike curiosity, joy, play. You know, that's what is required here because it is an adventure. And, you know, and it's much more fun when it's viewed as an adventure. And, you know, it's like we all have these incredible supernatural gifts. And it's like, let's lean into it, embrace it, play with it, wield it, you know, and have fun with it. So.
Number one is fun. And I love that learning with you is fun. And it's also a gym class. When I talk about classes with you, because I've done other classes in my spiritual journey. And when we met, I was looking to add to my arsenal of just ways to just help humanity in new ways. And when I talk about the courses with you, I say, look, this is like the gym class of spiritual work. It is fun. It is insightful. It's deep, but it's another level up. It's a gym class for sure in terms of spiritual healing work.
Yeah, it's definitely a level up. And, you know, so I have 3 levels of classes and each level is its own level up. And of course, my goal is always to, in the end, for you to be able to communicate with Source and the divine, you know, as, you know, like a best friend, you know, and then, you know, from, you know, move away from me as being your teacher and for Source to be your teacher. And, you know, but in order to do that, you have to level up, and then you're good to go.
Well, okay. Well, speaking of level up, you've definitely leveled up in your life. You practice what you preach. For those who don't know you, what can you share about your spiritual awakening journey? How you became the spiritual healer teacher now from
Yeah.
the tech engineering world and when that level up happened for you?
Well, so it's important to understand that I thought it was a level up, but now that I'm here and I look back, I've been spiritual all my life. I just never had any language around it. Okay. I just assumed everyone was like me, and nobody really talked about it. And so when I started my journey, and started really getting into this, what needed to happen was, I had a very profound supernatural experience happened to me, and after that, I just started seeking all classes, supernatural classes or spiritual classes. Those terms are all interchangeable. It's so interesting whether you call it metaphysical, supernatural, spiritual. By the way, it's all exactly the same thing. And so it was very interesting. But I remember this class I took. It was a tarot reading class. It was like a 6-week class that I was taking, and I thought, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, But what the universe really needed, and why it brought that class to me, was it needed to, for my left brain, my very logical brain, needed to come on the journey with me. And so when I was in this tarot class, each week, I'm learning about the tarot deck, but I was paired with a different person, each week in class to do readings for one another. That's how we were practicing. And every single week for 6 weeks, 6 different people gave me exactly the same reading. And so my left brain kind of went, now, wait a minute. What's the possibility of that happening? It's like it would be like winning the lottery 6 times in a row. It's like, how does that work? So my logical brain kind of stepped in and went, okay, maybe we need to start taking a look at this a little bit closer now, because obviously there's something going on here that I need to be aware of. And that's how my logical side came, kind of came along with me in the journey, for that, complete understanding. We don't want to leave any aspect of our beings behind. And so what I realized was that everything I'd been doing all my life, all the leadership roles I'd been in had been very intuitively inspired. I just didn't understand that. It was just kind of happening in the background. And so when I switched from high tech to being a spiritual healer and teacher, it was like flipping a coin, because in my mind, one side of the coin was the physical form of energy, computers, high tech, even if it's programming software, for those computers. And the other side of the coin was the ethereal energy and programming or deprogramming us energetically. And so, so to me, they're this, it's the same coin. It's just, which side do you want to be on? And so I had been doing that for 20 years. So it's like, okay, time to flip the coin and do this, for the latter half of my journey. And so here we are. And it's been amazing to see how similar both sides are. It's just doing it in a slightly different way. And so it's like I'm a scientist working with energy here, and I'm a spiritual healer working with energy over here. Okay, it's just different forms of energy. Awesome. And so that was really when I kind of grasped that was a really pivotal moment in my journey. I was like, wow, I've been doing the same thing all of my life, and so it's just been fascinating to connect all the dots together and to understand that whole oneness, because that's really what it's all about. I mean, that's the coin. The coin is the oneness, this side and this side. So it's all working there. It's so cool when you finally grasp it at the conscious level, and
Mm.
that's the journey, to finally understand everything at the conscious level, to understand who you are, all that you are capable of at the conscious level, as opposed to having it just run in the background, which is fine, but it's cooler to do it this way, I think, personally, because then you can proactively move forward.
Mm.
and focus your energy in certain ways and certain places that make you happy. But now you're doing it at the conscious level, yeah, again, I think it's just more fun that way.
Again, there's that word fun. And you also mentioned having done this all your life or being spiritual all your life, but now having the language. Now you have the language, and that's something I've learned from you is you've given me the language to describe what is going on. And I remember on day one, and I'll never forget this. It was the first day of class. He dropped a lot of bombs, but one of the bombs was in the form of a question. In the form of a question, and you asked all of us to give a definition of what is the difference between helping and rescuing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. Everybody has to stop and think about it. It's like, what? There's a difference? And it's like, well, yeah, you know. So, yeah, the difference between helping and rescuing. That's such an important question because I think everyone in some way, shape, or form falls into the trap of rescuing as being a good thing. And so the definition between helping and rescuing, helping is when you give your support to someone in a way that doesn't harm you. So if you support someone physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in whatever way you want to support them, but it doesn't harm you in any way, shape, or form. Just you're happy to do it. You have the time to do it. You have the finances to do it, whatever it is. And it brings a lot of joy to your life, but it doesn't take away anything from you. Rescuing, of course, is when you help someone and it does take something away from you. Like, for example, if you were a multimillionaire and somebody asked you for $20, well, yeah, okay, big deal. Here's $20. Like, it's no big thing, and that would be helping. But if it's your last $20 and it's, between you being, starving to death, you know, um, even though our society is like, well, yeah, of course you would give your last $20 to somebody else. It's like, but I need food too. It's going to hurt me, if I give that last $20 away. And, one of the lessons that, source, the universe really wants each person to understand. And this is a really hard one because it goes against a lot of fundamental rules in our society. And that is the lesson of first and foremost, you are responsible for yourself.
Mm.
Okay. Because every single person, first and foremost, is responsible for themselves. Every single one. Now, of course, there are exceptions like children. We take on that responsibility as a parent that, they would come first. But really, we are all first and foremost responsible for ourselves. And then once we have taken care of ourselves, then we are at liberty to help others, when and how we can. The other example I like to give is if somebody calls you on the phone and says, "Hey, I'm moving and I need some help with boxes and da da da," and you're in perfect health and you have nothing better to do, and you're like, "Sure, I'll come over and help you, of course," and you go run help and everything's fine. But if somebody calls you on the phone and says, "Hey, I need help moving," and you've pulled your back a couple days ago, and you're like, "Oh, and this is going to aggravate it, and I might re-pull it and re-hurt myself," and you say yes anyway. So now you are potentially, harming yourself by saying yes to that. So that's another form of rescuing because it's going to hurt you, to do that thing. And then there is one other example I tell, and I actually just told a client this the other day when I was talking about, putting yourself first and giving and receiving in balance. The example I gave her was, you really need to listen to your intuition first and foremost, because your intuition is, you, and it's protecting you and guiding you and trying to help you make the best possible choice in every moment to, what is in my highest good. Your intuition is always trying to guide you to your highest good. So if somebody calls you and says anything or asks you for anything, and your first immediate response is, that's a no.
Yes.
Okay. If you're spying in any way, shape, or form, that's a no. Okay. If your absolute immediate reaction is, oh my God, that sounds like a really good idea, let's go, or whatever, then that's a yes. Okay. But we are so pre programmed to just automatically say yes because we are a society of rescuing. And it's kind of been ingrained in us that is the way to behave. And so we're sometimes so automated in our response that we don't even pay attention to the fact that we went, because we've already said yes. you know and I told my client the other day, I was like, it's okay in the beginning to, if you suddenly realize, I just said yes to something that I really don't want to say yes to. It's okay to say, you know what? I think I've changed my mind. It's okay to say that. It's like, you know what? I just don't feel like this is in my best interest at this time. It's not, it could be my best interest later today. It could be my best interest tomorrow. But right in this moment, it's not in my best interest. So I'm gonna change my mind about that. It's okay to say that. And by the way, if you're talking to a friend and you say, you know what, I've changed my mind, your friend will go, oh, okay, no worries. Well, if if it's better at some other date, let me know and we'll plan it then. Okay. If it's someone who really has their own best interest at heart, they will fight you on it. They will be like, I can't believe you changed your mind. I can't believe that you won't do this for me. I'm just so disappointed. You'll get this kind of resistance and, like whatever they have to say to make you feel bad about changing your mind. By the way, that's not a friend, because their only interest is in themselves. They don't care that it's not in your highest good. They have no respect for you. They don't care about you. And because all they're thinking about is themselves. So suddenly you become, it's very interesting because you can suddenly start discerning your true friends from the people who are in your life who are only there to use you and abuse you. And it becomes very obvious very quickly. So,
Wow. Wow, Madeline, that's so empowering, and you're all about power. Well, it
I,
comes through in every single lesson that I learned from you. I think one time you said something really, really provocative. I felt it was provocative because it was a beautiful bomb. I call them beautiful bombs, where and it was something along the lines of, death isn't scary.
no.
Giving your power away is scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, we just sit with that. We're like,
Right. Yeah, it's a very, yeah, you have to let that one land, you know,
mm,
because we've been so pre-programmed to be afraid of death. I don't even want to, I mean, I think I've had like hundreds of thousands of lifetimes. I mean, it's like, really, you come, you go. Okay, here we are. But we're so pre-programmed in this society to be afraid of death. And honestly, I had to have a long discussion with the universe about this topic. And they're like, yeah, it's really not about that. And that's when you can actually discern that, and when you really allow that knowledge and wisdom
mm.
to land, you know, it's like the light bulb goes off. And, it's like, oh my God, it's about giving my power away. Because when it's really all about that. Because when you give your power away, you literally open yourself up to all of the trauma, the drama, everything, and in every way, shape, and form. Like, people can get their hooks into you, people can start siphoning your energy, you start, allowing things you shouldn't allow. And it's like that's the beginning of the domino effect, of everything, that now I'm spending. It's like I have given my power away in the past in so many different ways that I've spent all this time healing, 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 letting go. And it's all about stepping back into my power and truly understanding how this realm actually works, and being in my power, and really understanding the concept of respect and trust and worth and unconditional love and integrity and all, and acceptance, and recognition and appreciation and gratitude and forgiveness, all of it. Really, when forgiveness steps in, it's you're forgiving yourself for giving your power away. I mean, that's the
Wow.
bottom line, right? And then but you have to start with forgiving others. But it's like, well, wait a minute, you allowed it in the first place. So really, you have to start with self-forgiveness. And then you might want to forgive others for taking advantage of you, but you open the door. So that's where it begins. And again, when you truly have forgiven yourself, again, that light bulb just kind of illuminates, and suddenly you're back in your power. And everything suddenly makes sense. And it's like, wow, let's not do that again, shall we? Um,
Yes, Madeline, and oh, that is so powerful. Every time I hear it, like my heart needs to hear it over and over again, and then I hear it in a different way. It almost lands differently every single time. And you did mention something that I would love to get into, which is opening up ourselves from the trauma and drama from the past, and how that comes up every single time we give our power away, and relearning how to forgive ourselves. Can you speak a little bit about past lives? Because in learning and in healing with you, you're really big on what you call like healing across all time and
yeah.
space, or mapping healing across all time and space. And I've never understood this until I met you, and I'm still learning what it really means.
Yeah.
But how you work with clients and your students, can you discuss a little bit about what that means to map all healing
Yeah.
across all time and space?
Well, so we live in a time-based realm, right? So we yesterday was the past, tomorrow is the future. And so we think of other lifetimes as past lifetimes, and possibly even future lifetimes. But really, there's a concept called all time is now. And that everything is all happening in this moment. So, respectively, all lifetimes are actually also happening in series, I mean, in parallel and not in series. So, and so for me, what I learned a long time ago, that is, I want to truly, truly heal a trauma within my being. What I realized is that not only is it generally happening in this lifetime, but it's happening in multiple lifetimes, because there are lessons that are being learned. And if I go through an experience and I don't learn the lessons that it's trying to teach me, it's just going to come up over and over and over, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, until I finally learn those lessons. And so if I finally learn the lessons and I want to let this go, I must heal it everywhere that it's happening across all time and space. Otherwise, it will just keep rearing its ugly head. And people have come to me as a healer and they've said, yeah, I've healed this before with other healers, and it kind of goes away for, a couple days or a couple weeks, even a couple months. And then suddenly it comes back. And I don't understand. And it's like, yeah, because they're only healing you in this lifetime. They're not healing you everywhere. You're participating in this across all lifetimes. And even having said that, sometimes if you've done it for hundreds or thousands of lifetimes, you might require, yes, more than one healing, because now you're peeling the proverbial onion. And so, but the onion, when you heal it across all time and space, is a finite number. Okay. Right? If you do it one at a time, it's going to be an infinite number. But if you heal across all time and space, you might be able to heal it in one fell swoop, one healing, but it might take 2 or 3 healings, but it's a finite number. It's 3 healings, maybe 5 healings or whatever, but then you're just done. Okay. And then your whole world just, it's such an interesting phenomenon when you heal something in its entirety across all time and space. It's like you don't even remember going through it. It's like this vague memory that just kind of is there, but it isn't there. And you'll kind of notice, you might, hopefully you will notice and be in awareness of the fact that there were times when people say something to you like a trigger word and you would kind of just go ballistic. And then all of a sudden they say that word again and you're sitting there going, what? Like you don't even notice. And because it's done, there's no button in your being to push anymore because you've healed it 100% everywhere. And I don't even know how to explain the phenomenon to you until you go through it. It's so bizarre. But I will tell you that when students or clients, get to reach that level, they'll call me on the phone and go, this is so weird. And it's like, I don't, like, I knew it was I know that I've gone through it and it's weird, but I don't feel it anymore. And it's like, I don't even know, there's no words to describe it because it's just so bizarre and they're so elated that it's done. But, you know, just that, conscious awareness of grasping it, it's like, wow, this is so bizarre, to not engage anymore, to not, nobody can push that button because there's no button to push. And so I just start laughing because that's all I can do at that point. And, we just have a good laugh over it. And she's like, God, she or he, they're like, oh my God, if I had known this before, I so would have a long time ago, because I never knew you could just totally let it go. And I'm like, well, of course, everything can be healed. Everything can be healed. You just have to want to go there.
Wow.
Sometimes people have to hit rock bottom to kind of come up and go, I'm so done with this. I'm so done with this, in order to truly let it go. Not everybody. Some people can just decide and just say, yeah, I'm done with this. But others really kind of have to sit with themselves because maybe the trauma drama, like I knew someone that just loved the trauma and drama. They lived for the trauma and drama. This is not a person that's willing to let it go from their life, to be constantly challenged by the next trauma and drama. And I just sat back and watched it unfold, and I just kind of went, wow, this is not a life I would choose, but this is just, okay, that's your choice, okay, that's that. If that's what you enjoy, more power to you. But they would have to reach rock bottom for them to really have that understanding of, I don't want to do this anymore. This is actually not in my best interest. But okay, but everybody's journey is different, and everybody gets there when they get there. So
Well, and as a friend and a healer, like
Yeah.
when those two roles are kind of together with somebody that you care about, there is also this responsibility that I've also learned from you, that it's important that we're clearing our own energy, because either somebody who hasn't hit rock bottom yet and is continuing on that program may be dumping on you intentionally or unintentionally. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, again, if you've opened that door of allowance and you gave your power away to them in this lifetime or in any other lifetime, it is important to heal your side of your side of the puzzle, your side of the connection.
Wow. Mm.
So that they can't hook into you and drag you with them or influence you and have this be white noise in the background. And you're like, how come I'm always getting caught up in this? This is suddenly not my choice, but they're dragging you along because at some point you said, yeah, go ahead, have all my power, or sure, drag me along, but you didn't say it in this lifetime, and but you said it's somewhere. And so now they have their claws in you. I had to heal my relationship with this person because even though we were just colleagues in this lifetime, he was a husband in a past lifetime. And so I
Mm.
really had to, heal my side of the relationship. And then I said goodbye. I'm like, yeah, I have no interest in being, even as a colleague involved in this trauma and drama. And so, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I'm out of here. And I moved on because I choose not to participate, and it is a choice. But yes, you have to heal it so that you're no longer attached to it. And then, so there's healing, and then there's just clearing all of that noise that was in your background, the clearing and balancing, letting all of that go. And so you are now completely unaffected by them. But then you can choose, do you still want to engage, or are we done now for this lifetime, for this journey? And I chose to let him go because it was just being in his presence was trauma and drama. And that was just not fun. No, it's not fun, so if it's not fun, I'm not interested. Because if it's not positive, happy, even, and I'm not saying I have to be giggling 24/7, but it's just not even that happy energy, just even in the background, that enlightened energy, that energy of joy and happiness and, abundance and prosperity, that peace and equanimity, that, that's the energy I seek. And not to say that I don't have serious discussions with people and all of that, but even with that, the discussions are coming, then you're in a state of peace and equanimity, and
Yeah.
you're coming from that energy and not woe is me and trauma and drama energy. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's powerful because people are not aware that a lot of the times the people that are in their lives, they spent other lifetimes with before, or have soul connections
right.
uh, as well, which are really strong. And in just listening to you, I love how you just explain it and say, well, I've done that before, but I'm not going to do it again. Or we've done that dance before, but we're not going to do it again. And I mean, if people could just, just have that, just be able to speak about it just so freely about like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Are humans overcomplicating things? Are we overthinking things?
But that's the noise in the background, right? They
Mm.
want, if it's complicated, by the way, the universe, and I know for those of you that have seen other healers, and the universe wants ease and grace. Ease
Mm.
and grace, ease and grace. Everything's supposed to be easy. If it's hard, you're making it hard. It's not supposed to be hard. Okay. And that's again, everybody's like, what do you mean it's not supposed to be hard? Hard is valued. And the universe is like, we value easy. You're the ones that are valuing hard. What are you doing that for? Why would you do that to yourself? And so then there ends up being all of this noise in the background, from television to, all everything that's happening in the background is all this distracting noise, that suddenly we have to filter. And then you come into discernment, which is why I always like, listen to your intuition. So yes, that's why all of my classes are about intuitive empowerment. All of my tours, all of my in-person tours and adventures and retreats, they're all about intuitive empowerment. It's really about listening to your intuition, embracing your intuition, no matter how crazy your intuition sounds. It's like, take a moment and go, well, what if that's true? What if my intuition, or what I know people call it their gut feeling, whatever language you're using around it, what if you just listen to that first and foremost? Right? Because even, I've heard people say, your first instinct is always the correct instinct. Well, that's another way of saying your intuition is, guiding you in, your highest good in every moment. And by the way, you're in full free will and choice in every moment. So if something doesn't work for you, just change your mind. Make a different choice. Okay, it's not really hard. Again, we have all these rules and regulations and all these belief systems that are keeping us bound in ways that only harm us. And so, but that's the journey. The journey is figuring all of that out for yourself and having all of those experiences. So I'm going to put this one back on you, Charles. So of all the things in my classes, what was the most profound for you, and how did it change your life?
Collaborating with Source.
Okay.
Collaborating with Source, I would say, like, that just came out like that because it's a great phrase. But when you really dig into what it actually means, and how you teach collaborating with Source, it, for me, has developed this term that I learned from you, which is like a spiritual muscle memory.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna want to ask you to elaborate on that. But those impulses to feel into that intuition and the discernment are happening a lot quicker now. And it creates and opens up for me an adventure of life, of being able to almost choose your own adventure, pivot, bob, and weave, which makes life a lot more fun and exciting, and to unpack what's next and how it's next. Because I've said this before, and I've heard it said time and time again, that we're never alone. We have support. But in working with you, Madeline, I understand it on another level. And it's just so much fun to know that I chose to do the game, but I also have a lot of players with me.
Yeah. Nice. Well, you're right. You're an actor, right?
I am.
Right. But what most people, one of the analogies I tell people is that, you're the creator of your own journey, right? You're the creator of your life. You're the producer, you're the director, you're the leading star, the lead actor, you're the writer, you're the casting agent, so everyone in your life, you cast to be in your life. So whether they're playing the role of the support role, or whether they're playing the role of the antagonist or protagonist, you chose them. You cast them, in for every single moment of your journey in this life. So, so if you're looking around going, wow, all these people are just horrible to me, it's like, well, why did you choose them to be horrible to you? You're the creator, which means you can re-choose at any moment. And what that does, and I don't know why people don't want to take this role on. Why don't they? I don't understand why there's so much resistance to take on that responsibility that you are, in fact, the creator. Because the moment you choose to step into that role, you're in charge.
Hmm.
Right? So if you're in charge, you can change it all, because you're in charge, And so why wouldn't you want to take that responsibility? Why wouldn't you want to take ownership of your life and your journey and your experiences? Because if you chose these experiences, you can re-choose the experiences. You can rewrite the script. You can re-choose, recast everybody. You can do whatever you want, But if you don't take ownership of it, if you keep pointing to other people going, they're at fault, then you're giving your power away once again, And are they going to change it for you? No. So if you take ownership of it, you get to change it and you get to rewrite it and you get to, change direction and change the script and change everything. So it's just so much more powerful if you just decide to own your life.
Why do I find myself wanting to ask you? Can you repeat that 3 more times?
Right. Right. Okay.
I will say I'm very spoiled because I do get a recording of every one of our classes. So I'm very spoiled. And anyone who decides to take a class with you will be able to replay it over and over again because you say so much in the moment that it's like it exists in that moment, but we got a recording. So
Well, this is recorded. So there you go.
that is so true. Yes, please replay this, everyone. So Madeline, I do want to ask you a question, a burning question that I have.
Okay.
And I had this burning question when we started classes together because again, everything is so open. It's like ask all the questions. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And I've had a question on my mind for a long time, and it wasn't until I met you that I felt comfortable asking.
Okay.
And that was about the Galactic Federation. And I know, and because, I, in other spiritual groups and communities, whether I'm at an expo or a meditation group, or even just in a live chat, watching another like content creators live stream, I always felt very inadequate to ask the questions because it was always this assumption that everyone kind of knew what was going on and everyone knew the different races and everyone knew what, why their messages were so like I should just assume that I don't have all the answers, I shouldn't ask all the questions, but you made it so open to ask.
Yeah.
And if you can just give brief, because I feel like this should be another episode. I'd love to have you on for another episode to just
Probably.
do a deep dive into this. But for anyone who's hearing about the Galactic Federation for the first time, and I do suspect just intuitively that more and more people are going to be hearing about
Yeah.
them. I truly feel that. What should they know? What is a briefing on who they are, what they are, and should we trust them?
Yeah. So the Galactic Federation, for all you Star Trek fans, it is a federation. So it's a conglomerate, right? But it's a conglomerate of hundreds of thousands of civilizations from other planets that have already ascended. So these are light beings. Okay. So feel free to look up the term ascended master. These are beings that have attained enlightenment. Okay. But they choose to go help other planets, other civilizations while they are, in the process of attaining their own enlightenment. So, of course, our civilization, our planet, we're constantly moving to that as well. There's a lot of discussion. I see it all over the internet now about, ascending and our ascension process and the earth moving towards a more light filled state, all of that. And so they've been with us all along, since the creation of, our origin human story. They've been here watching us, monitoring us, making sure we don't self implode. Because a couple times through history, we came very close to self imploding. And so they're here to help. Okay. They are here to help. They are light beings. So, archangels are light beings. They are ascended masters. So they're light beings that, in other words, they've gone through the whole incarnated process, their civilization, and they've attained enlightenment as a civilization, as a planet. And they are at our disposal. They're here to help. Now, having said that, we are in a realm of full free will and choice, which means in order to receive help, you must ask for help. And so you can just kind of just say, beloved. I always use the term beloved as I don't know, I just rolls off my tongue. So I'll say, beloved Galactic Federation of Light, I'm asking for help with this part of my life, this part of my life, that part of my journey. I'm asking for knowledge and wisdom. I'm asking for new, more enlightened spiritual experiences. I'm asking for abundance and prosperity. I'm asking for whatever it is you're asking for, whether you're talking to Source, God, archangels, Galactic Federation of Light. They're all different beings that you can tap into and ask for help in whatever way you want to do it. Now, of course, in class, you get to meet them, as you have done. And, and different, each time we do what I call a meet and greet, you'll meet a different member of a different, member of a different group of the Galactic Federation, whoever wants to work with you on your journey at any given moment in time, or share knowledge and wisdom, or whatever you're looking for, or just to meet them. And usually, if they come in and, whoever you're going to see or meet during that experience, you've worked with them before. They, especially the first couple of times you meet and greet them, the ones that come through are the ones that you've worked with before. They're going to feel familiar, seem familiar. It's like, oh my God, we've been best friends this whole time. Hi, how's it going? It's that kind of a thing, because they want to be your best friend. They want you to lean on them, in every moment of every day. I mean, I will just ask for, get me to my meeting on time, these kinds of things. I'll ask them for anything and everything, like my washing machine broke one day. And I'm like, well, is there a quick, easy way of fixing this? And I'll just go up to them and say, can I get some knowledge and wisdom here? And they're like, oh yeah, just unplug it, tilt it, do this, do that, plug it back in, and suddenly it starts working again. Okay, so you can ask them for anything. It doesn't have to be these grand, one-time requests. They want interaction in every moment of every day, because they want to help you in every way, shape, and form, not just, in this respect or that respect. And I know there are these belief systems out there that you're only allowed to ask so many times for favors. Okay, you just need to let that one go. Okay, that's nonsense, because they're here to help in every moment, 24/7. If you could ask for something in every second of every minute of every hour of every day, they'd be like, great. How can we help? They're absolutely here for you. And yeah, and they're a lot of fun. You just have to be fearless with them. Absolutely fearless, because if you do a meet and greet with them, and I do have those classes as well, just the one-off classes. If you do a meet and greet with whomever, just understand that they're other beings from other planets, so they're going to look very interesting. And you really just have to remember that they're light beings, and in whatever way they, you see them, feel them, engage with them, they are here to help. And I encourage everyone to reach out, and say hello to them, and just include them in your prayers and asks and wants and desires, and see what happens.
See what happens, Madeline. That's why I felt like you were the perfect one to ask about this, and also just start the discussion because it's exactly that energy. See what happens. Everything is a fun adventure, and I will admit I was a little scared the first time I did that meet and greet, but you made the experience so fun. It's like, oh, we can play with it, work with it, ask them to to glow into something shiny that's a little bit more fun for you. They're here because you asked them to be. So everything is a negotiation. Make it a game. They can appear in any way that you want them to. And I love that, just that energy that you bring, Madeline, in everything, because there is work, but there's like, work doesn't have to feel like work. There is building up our spiritual muscle memory, but it could be also a fun adventure too. It doesn't have to be I don't even know what the comparison would be, but I have some things in my mind that I could compare a boring seminar to, and it doesn't have to be a boring seminar.
No, that's no fun. Why would you do that? you know,
Exactly.
one of the things I know I have a lot of friends who read a lot of spiritual books, and as you know, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm a very experiential person. I'd much rather experience it than read about it. And I've been like that all my life. I'd much rather play tennis than watch tennis. I'd much rather race cars than watch a car race. I'd much rather do, you know, experience this than read about someone else's experience of it. Not that there isn't knowledge and wisdom in that, but it's their experience, and to me, it's like, well, I want my experience. I want my own experience, so that's just how I am. And that's hopefully how everybody I attract is like that as well. Because to me, that's the fun part. I want to go out in the world and experience. And me asking for help is to do that. To ask for help to problem solve whatever challenges I might have in my life right now, so I can hurry up and move through it so I can go back to having fun things, or even making the experience fun, turning the challenge into an opportunity, turning the challenge into something fun. And sometimes I can't see the fun in the challenge. And so I will go up to them and go, "Can you help me see the fun in this challenge?" Because that's a request too. It's like, help, seems really harsh to me, this challenge. So can you help me see the opportunity here? Can you help me with that? And then suddenly, I'll go off and do something, and like the next day or even within an hour, suddenly all these ideas start flowing into my head, and it's like, oh, that's how I can make it fun. That's how I can shift this into a better experience. Because the moment you do that, you let go of the trauma and drama around it. And then you don't take any more on. So that's even cooler, because now you're healing the trauma and drama you have taken on in the past, but then you also learn how to skip over the trauma and drama, for any new experiences coming in. So now you're moving along your journey at warp speed. Thank you very much. And to that state of enlightenment where just everything is love and light. And that's really what it is. Enlightenment is just that state of you're just in that unconditional love and light, joy and happiness, peace and equanimity, abundance and prosperity in every moment. Every moment is ease and grace. And that's enlightenment. When you can do that in every single moment of your journey, you've arrived. That's the name of the game. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Wow. Well, no, you said a lot. You might have given us the key to life. I think you did. It's in every moment. And for anyone who is seeking to gain a little bit of enlightenment, a little bit of freedom on their journey, a little bit more discernment, more alignment on their journey, how can they start working with you? And can you give maybe a briefing on the courses that you offer, as well as some of the tours, as well as all of the different services that you provide where people can start their journey, perhaps with you today?
Okay. So again, Madeline Harmath, Saving Grace Healing Services. I do have a website, www.savinggracehealing.com. But really, I'm up on Meetup, and I'm up on all events. I have my classes in both places. And so I have 3 levels of classes. It's called Advanced Spiritual Healing Certification Program, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Each level is 6 weeks long because I I really believe that a lot of these themes and a lot of stuff we've discussed today, it really takes time to kind of let it sit and percolate and integrate. So my classes are 2 hours once a week. So if you choose to take a class Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., it's that Saturday for 6 weeks, 2 hours a week. I send you class materials. It's online on Zoom. Email you class materials, but everything's recorded so you can play it back. We start out with a meditation, and then I teach something, and then we practice in class, and then I ask you to do homework. So I'm really looking for people who, this is something they really want to shift their life. They're looking for all this knowledge and wisdom. In level 1, we heal, clear, and balance our chakras. We kind of focus on this lifetime. In level 2 and 3, we talk about all time and space and healing across all time and space. But in level 1, we'll do clearing, balancing of the chakras 1 through 7, auras 1 through 7, sub chakras 1 through 7, sub auras 1 through 7, because balance is important. Balance is the key to power. And you must be balanced in every area of your life in order to truly be in your power. And so those are some of the things we discuss in level 1. We also talk about the ego and what role the ego plays and why it's important to have your ego as a part of your spiritual journey, because again, it's about wholeness, oneness. So you have to take all of yourself on the journey, and how to do that. And it's actually not as complicated as most people think. We learned something called the enlightening the ego, which actually helps you change belief systems. It's program yourself. Okay. And it's an easy process, and it's very profound, and it's very powerful. Okay. And then we talk about lessons of light. So your life lessons, every situation in your life has lessons in the background that that your higher self wanted you to learn in this journey. And we talk about how to tune into that really quickly, easily, effectively. And again, so you can understand why certain things are happening in your life, and you can then embrace it and go with it in a more light-filled way. So you're not resisting and in conflict with it and creating more trauma and drama. And then I don't know, what else do we learn? We learn a couple more things. We also learn a clearing and balancing process that's very effective. You can use it on yourself. You can use it on your home. You can use it on your car. You can use it on your office. Again, it will change a lot of things for you, and make and everything is about intuitive empowerment. It's clearing the noise, right? When you clear the trauma and drama, you're clearing all of that noise so that you can be more you. And I do it over 6 weeks, again, to give, every class time to integrate, time to settle, time for you to ask questions. I am available to all my students 24/7. You can text me at any time, day or night. I will text you back because I don't want to leave anybody hanging. I don't want anybody to stop moving forward in any given moment in time. So I'm available to everybody. And of course, you have your recordings that help as well. So that's level 1. Level 2, again, we move into across all time and space. So now you're clearing chakras 8 through 14, auras 8 through 14, sub-chakras 8 through 14, sub-auras 8 through 14. Very quickly out of the gate, I teach you how to tune into all your other lifetimes, the past life process. Very powerful, very helpful. Things will, again, you it's you start healing exponentially, right? So this is an exponential journey. You level up. So this is the next level up. You learn about past lives. You learn about how to heal things that are hereditary. We talk about bloodline work and all of that. And soul connections, how to disentangle yourself from soul connections. Just disentangle yourself from everyone that's in your field. Again, it's leveling up to the next level of clearing and balancing. How to bring aspects of yourself back together. So I call it the defragmenting process. So we talk about oneness and oneness of your being, and how to bring all your pieces back that got fragmented from you. And a lot of other topics. And then level 3 is really the most advanced level, of course. And again, you level up, and we start right out of the gate about talking about the purpose of the dark side. What does the dark side mean? What is their role in your journey? And just a lot more of that. So you level up to a next level of clearing and balancing, and and a lot of other topics. But it's a lot of fun. Each level is 6 weeks, again, for that to allow that integration of knowledge and wisdom, and for you to truly understand how powerful each tool is in its own right. And then at the end of level 2 and level 3, we actually start doing healing exchanges, and healing one another and practicing that. So if you wanted to do this formally, professionally, again, you start having that practice, and then we practice in class, and then I ask you practice on your friends, your loved ones, whoever you want to practice on, and we just start getting more into how to do that as well. And then if you have any questions about starting your own business, I'm here for you to support you along those lines as well. So those are my classes. You can find those up on Meetup. It's the Meetup group is called Collaborating with Source Meetup group. I also have in-person adventures. Now, I live in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. All of my tours and adventures are in person, so they're here. I also do retreats to Mount Shasta once or twice a year. So, look for those. I believe my Meetup group is Supernatural Spiritual Adventures on Meetup. And so look for that in Meetup. I have right now, I've got tours to Muir Woods, which is a redwood forest, a national forest that's up here, that just north of San Francisco. Again, it's all about intuitive empowerment. When we go take a tour, it's a 3-hour walking tour, and so Muir Woods is very encapsulated in its own energy. And so when you walk in, you don't even know that you are on the planet anymore. It's very interesting. Every 20 feet or so, I ask the group to tune into the energies, because it shifts so dramatically. So within Muir Woods will amplify. So all realities are present in Muir Woods, all dimensions are present in Muir Woods, all universes are present in Muir Woods. You walk through about 25 gate portals and gateways, you walk through tunnels of light. I ask you to tune into all of it. I will tell you that no one, or I should say everyone that comes to this tour, they are completely different, in a different state of enlightenment before and after. So after the 3-hour tour, have been completely shifted and leveled up into the next level of enlightenment. And it's so much fun for me to witness it, because, they'll start in going, I don't really know about this, and they'll kind of, okay, we'll try it. And then by the time they're done with a 3-hour tour, they're like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that. And they just kind of walk away amazed because they're doing it. They're tuning in. They're seeing all of this stuff. They're feeling it, seeing it, experiencing it, engaging with it. And it's them, and so now they've embraced a whole other level of intuitiveness, intuitive empowerment that they then will take with them into their lives, into the rest of their journey. So that's a lot of fun. I just the Winchester Mystery House is up here in San Jose, California. They're doing their flashlight tours again in April and May. I just scheduled one of my tours with the Winchester Mystery House. For those of you that so when I do a tour, I will actually work with all of my guides, source, and everybody, and amplify the house because I think the house has more than 50 rooms. Every single room has its own frequency and vibration that I will help you tune into. I actually bring in ghosts into the house, about 100 to 200 ghosts, just so that people can have that experience, because really there's only one ghost in the house, and he lives in the basement. So for that more kind of ghostly, experience, I'll actually work to bring ghosts in, and I have a way of doing that that's very respectful to them. I transition them across after age with us, and I amplify everything. I also asked Sarah's higher self to join us, so she joins every single one of my tours. So if you have the capability to tune in with her, she's
Sarah Winchester.
Sarah Winchester. So she joins my tours. She is always with my tours because I asked her to come, and she's happy to do so. But it's her higher self. She's not a ghost, so her higher self joins us. And
Mm.
and most people can tune into her because, again, she's amplified and everything's amplified. Also, I bring in Archangel Michael and his entire team to make sure we're safe, and the whole house is lit. But it is an interdimensional Airbnb. So there's a lot of, that kind of energy coming in. There's an interdimensional train station at the house that you will tune into when you come with me, because, again, I'm amplifying all that energy so that you can tune into it. But again, it is a tour about intuitive empowerment. It's about step into your intuitive power, tune in, and allow yourself to experience that. So that's on the schedule as well. Every month I do what I call spirituality. So it's afternoon tea, because I love afternoon tea. I love going to afternoon tea. This is so a past life thing. And what I do is I do a past life reading for all those that join. So they get a past life reading as part of the afternoon tea experience, which is why I call it spirituality.
Tea.
Um, and so I think and then I do a fun event every full moon. The full moon here over the ocean is so spectacularly beautiful. In Capitola, California, it's down by the coast. It's the city next to Santa Cruz, for those of you that are familiar with Santa Cruz. But it has a far different energy. It's far more peaceful than Santa Cruz. And when you watch the moon come over the hills, it actually hits the water and creates this nice little water way on the water. It's spectacular. It's just a fun event. I bring flash paper for people to write their manifests on during dinner. So it's a dinner. We get to talk about all things spiritual. You get to share an experience with other spiritual people, and write your manifest on flash paper. After dinner, we walk to the beach, which is literally across the street. And I bring sparklers to just kind of, have that joy, essence of joy going. And then we light up the flash paper with your manifest. We light them up and send them off to the universe as we watch the full moon come up over the ocean. So I try and do that, anytime a full moon lands on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And this month it is actually next Saturday, which is April 12th, the full moon. So we're going to be down in Capitola, California. So that's some of the things I'm doing right now. So yeah, if you can't find it, just shoot me an email, shoot me a text, whatever. I'm happy to respond. All of my information's on my website. If you go to my website and just hit info, my phone number is there, my email's there. Send me a message directly or through the website. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm open to receiving it all. So
Well, thank you, Madeline. You really are offering so many ways for people to be in joy and fun and adventure and wonder while connecting with their higher selves and just working on that intuitive muscle. It can be a lot of fun. All of those links I'm going to leave in the description below. And Madeline, before we end this amazing, I mean, I don't even know how to end this, but I just wanted, because sources telling me there needs to be a part 2 and 3, of course, and more. Um, if you could just take a moment. If you have a channeled message for anyone listening right now or humanity, what would you like to share with people right now? Maybe a channeled message from source.
I think sources find joy in every moment. That is the bottom line. Find ways of bringing joy into your life, whatever that means to you. I literally, when I find that I've gotten too serious, I literally go up on YouTube, I find my favorite comedian, and I just start walking through, all of his clips so that I can bring laughter back into my energy, into my space. That's how I find joy. I also take trips down to, the beach, because I find a lot of peace and comfort and joy while I'm at the beach. And it's so funny, I really have been doing this a lot in my life. And I kid you not, last week, I went down to the beach, and then the next day, one of my friends was like, "Are you going down to the beach? I think we need to go down to the beach." And I'm like, "Okay, so let's go down to the beach." So then the third day, another friend calls me on the phone, goes, "I think we need to go down to the beach. I think we need to go to the beach." And so literally 5 days in a row, I was down at the beach, and each day was completely different because I was with a different person. One day I was by myself. All the other days I was with my friends, and each person brings their own unique energy and joy and fun. And we kept it light and we kept it fun, or we meditated, or we just sat there and watched the ocean, and that was so calming and peaceful. But it was like, I kind of sent that request up to the universe saying, well, that's where my joy is. Help me. And then all of a sudden, I got all these people going, let's go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. I'll drive. Let's go to the beach. I'm like, I didn't have to do any work at all. And there I was. And so that was so amazing. So that would be, so in whatever way you can bring joy into your life, it just, do that, find ways, multiple ways of doing that, and ask for help. Ask the universe to help you bring joy into your life. Ask the universe to bring you opportunities of joy into your life. They will hop to it so fast. It will make your head spin. It'll be like, wow, that's all I had to do was ask, and it will show up for you.
Love that, Madeline. Thank you so much. Yes. Find the joy, ask for help, ask for support, collaborate with Source, and make it fun.
Yeah.
Oh, what else is there, Madeline? Thank you for that. Thank you for being here on the Uncaged Mindset podcast. For those of you listening, please smash that like button and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It's free, and it gets this powerful message out to more and more people in the YouTube world and all algorithms that algorate. I don't even know if that's even a term. Thank you so much, my friend Madeline, and I'm looking forward to more adventures with you.
Excellent. Me too. Thank you so much.